And yeah, this is, to Kaylee's point, very catchy, but it also sounds as though because of this rollover that the volatility that we've had more recently, it may subdue into the end of the year.
Yes, that's right. Well, this JPMorgan fund, they have a quarterly rebalance on a hedge that they do. And it's actually a very low volatility type of fund where their upside they're looking for is around 5%, and they hedge downside risk between 5 and 20%. So it's something that we all watch because it's become so big that it can move the market. Now, the key strike that I'm watching, it's the 38.35 call part of their option collar. And as we've migrated back to that number, you could see some, well, pinning at that level towards the end of the year. However, as the option, basically the gamma hedging band starts to shrink, you could see volatility on the downside as the dealers will have to sell their deltas to hedge. And if we really do break, and we've seen some real big names in the S&P and the NASDAQ, making new lows recently, breaking 3,800, possibly 3,750 with the low liquidity in the holiday season is not out of the question.
Well, it's interesting, Tom. We were taking a look at a chart of that fund, and on the year it's down about 9.5%, which is definitely outperforming the S&P 500 by 500-600 basis points. Really pretty good. But in some ways, I would have actually expected it maybe to do a little bit better. But Kaylee was talking about that BOJ move, the JGBs, and of course the yen at one point, maybe even right now, having its best day since 1998, giving the dollar a breather. Do you think that this could help create some of that smoothness as well, and maybe to the upside for the S&P 500?
It's hard to tell right now. I think that what is really on the minds of a lot more investors is not necessarily just the dollar weakness. I think it's more earnings. And I think we're going to see a lot of pre-announcements start in the beginning of the year. There's some big names that I think could pre-announce. You have also Nike and FedEx as bellwethers today after the bell. So I'm watching those. And I just think that there's risk still down to the downside here.
Yeah, lots of uncertainty certainly in this environment. Although it's interesting, the VIX is down and going back toward the bottom of that range, closer to 20. And then one stock that is certainly down, not only on the day but on the year, Tesla. I think it's down about 50% or more on the year. You have an options idea going into the new year.
Yes, well, it just keeps making new lows every day, and you could still see some tax loss selling from people out there. And I like the January 6th option expiration 130 put, and you're going to pay around $4.20. It might have increased as it's moved down a little over the last few minutes. But I think that you're going to get the delivery numbers the first week of January, and if they're weak, as they were the last quarter, I think the stock could certainly move lower and perhaps even towards 100.